Thanks for tuning in to more horse racing coverage, thoroughbred style, on the Prime Sports Network here at YouTube. And we are going to, of course, talk with Jon Hardoon from the Sheets and Mark Lawrence from Playbook Sports here on the PlaybookSports.com Horse Report. So how's everything going, guys? Jon, how are you?
Very good. Happy July 4th weekend to everybody.
Yes, it is. I didn't even realize that. I'm glad I was looking at the weather, and the people are going to have some pretty bad storms in the vicinity where we're going to be talking about on Saturday. We've got 2 races from Gulfstream, and it's going to be pretty. That's where you are, actually, Mark. You've got some hurricane weather coming your way.
Yeah, they're knocking on the door here. It's that time of the year, and looks like it's all Florida again to start the hurricane season, so we'll keep our fingers crossed.
All right, so last week we had a couple of winners, which was nice.
Good job, Greg.
Thank you. The first race, was one of the favorites, so it was no big deal, but Frosted Grace got the win over another favorite in the Grade 3 Smile Sprint. Is that the race last week?
I don't remember. 9,000
races. We're talking Frosted Grace this week, right?
Yeah. Last week was Set Piece. It was the one. He was favored anyway, but the good one was Navratilova. Even though her sheet line went opposite directions, she still got the win as she was a 12-1 shot when we talked about her last week. She paid $20.80. The exacta was $84.
That's a damn good job.
And the sheet line really was pretty. It was right there for us. So it was a good one. It was 23, 17, 12, 11. But kind of got lucky that she won, and yet her sheet line went backwards.
Well, a lot of times your sheet line will go forward and you'll lose the race.
That's true.
I do it every day. So.
All right, let's get started here on a Friday morning, and we've made it to consecutive weeks with the same schedule. We're going to go with 2 races at Gulfstream, and we haven't done Gulfstream in a while. A couple of graded stakes races. The first one is going to be the Grade 3 Smile Sprint that I just referenced a minute ago. And we're going to start with the 1, Frosted Grace. So the 1 is a 6-1 shot, and this is actually a horse that we all are more than likely, I think, from looking at your picks and my picks, we'll throw into our exactas, especially if the horse goes off at 6-1. That's a pretty good number. I mean, look, outside the sheets, everything is great, including 12-12 at 6 furlongs in the money. What about the number 1 horse, Jon? 10, 12, and 10 in his first 3 races this season.
Well, if you think a 10 is going to get the job done, well, that's fine. If you think you need better than a 10, and I think you probably do, I think you got a couple of horses in here that are eligible to run better than the 10. I mean, over the last 2 years, this horse ran 13 races and ran better than a 10 twice. So he's going to have to do better than that, but he's certainly eligible to run another 10, and a 10 may be good enough to get you a piece of the exacta or try.
Yeah, in this race it could be, Mark, and is that part of the reason why you like Frosted Grace as well?
I do. You mentioned the fact, Greg, that the horse has a nose for the money, especially not only at the distance, but at Gulfstream, 13 of 16 at Gulfstream, and he ran second to Mischievous Alex in a Grade 3 sprint here at Gulfstream in February. He's been 8 for 8 in the money his last 8 races. I think you have to have him on the ticket. Like Jon says, maybe not to win, but I think he'll be knocking on the door.
All right.
Well, he prefers second anyway, because he's got, out of 24 starts, he has 3 wins in 10 seconds.
That's true.
You
there you go.
Like more balanced, like 5 wins in 5 seconds. It just seems like he has a problem getting to the wire first. But again, he certainly belongs in the numbers, and that's why I'll be using him underneath my main key in here.
And as
he's got a nose for the money, right?
And the viewers can see on the screen, we're going to be posting up the sheets for each of the horses we're going to talk about. So there's the sheets there for Frosted Grace. So as we go along, Jon and Mark, since we're going to be posting these now, if you do notice anything in any of the sheets from any of the horses that you'd want to point out for an educational tool, or Mark, if you have any questions for Jon, just go right ahead, and everybody will be able to see now what we're talking about. Oh, by the way, Frosted Grace, 4 runner-ups and a win in the last 5 races at 6 furlongs at Gulfstream Park. That's a good combination there. Okay, let's go with the 2. And that is Willie Boy, a 15-1 shot. I don't really see anything here, but Mark, what do you think? Is this a long shot that you wanted to consider?
Well, I can say that he does like the track. He's 3 for 5 at Gulfstream. He did run in the Holy Bull back in January. All 3 of his career wins are at Gulfstream, but there are better horses in this race, and I'm sure there are better numbers, as John will mention, in the race as well.
Yeah, nothing here, right, John?
No, but the horse does have a nice line. He's an improving horse, and he actually has a chance to run a new top. He's going to have to run a new top to get in. The best he's ever run before was a 13, which he ran last time out. But he's getting a little better with each race. And if the track comes up off, after listening to what you guys said, it sounds like there may be rain there. That would only help this horse. But I don't like him. I don't think he's quite good enough. I think he's a notch below.
How is the weather supposed to be tomorrow, Mark?
You said a hurricane.
Well, the hurricane's coming. I didn't know if it's going to be tomorrow or not. So
we've had rain every day for the past 10 days, so I don't see it stopping tomorrow with the hurricane around the corner. So it will likely be wet tomorrow at Gulfstream Saturday.
All right.
I checked the weather. It said only 20% chance of rain, but in Florida at this time of year, it rains every day for, like you said, at least 15 minutes. So.
And we don't get cheated when it rains here, John, either. It comes down in buckets, so.
It opens up pretty good.
Okay, let's go with the 3. And this horse is a 12-1 shot, coming off his best race of his career. Ran a 9. Before that, ran an 18, as you can see here on the board. So can you say bounce, John?
Well, I have a few problems with this horse. First of all, he's coming off of Lasix tomorrow for the first time, so let's see how he does without Lasix. The good news is that he did run a 9 last year. It looked like he was tailing off prior to that race because last year he had 11s, and this year he ran a 13 first out, then a 15 and an 18. You know, he has a shot to run an 11 or 12 maybe. It would depend on the price. He's off a 9 top, and he's more likely to react and bounce, like you say, than repeat or make a forward move.
Mark?
I would think what you said, and maybe what John says here, Greg, the pattern I saw was good, bounce, good, bounce, good. Is this a bounce race for the horse? Do his numbers go that way, John?
That's what it looks like.
Yep. Well, this would be the bounce.
All right. Let's go with one of the favorites of the race now, and that is the number 4, Chance It. And for a favorite, well, again, I'm not going to say that history says that favorites, that doesn't always mean that we're going to take the horse, but none of us actually are going to go with this horse in any way, shape, or form. Coming off a 7 in January, then went to an 11 and January of last year, 2020. Then on an 11 in March of last year. Then didn't race again until May of 2021, ran a 12. So the horse is going in the opposite direction with only 3 races in the last couple of years. And interesting, the only race outside the top 2. This is a horse that's 7 of 8 in the money, first or second. The only race outside the top 2, John, was a Grade 2 stakes race, which was also the only graded stakes race of Chance It's career.
Well, this horse originally started off like he was going to really be a nice horse. He ran some real fast numbers at 2. He ran 10s, which was really good. And he came out as a 3-year-old and ran the 7, like you said. Then he ran the 11, but something happened. He took off for 14 months off of that race, and he came back with a 12. You know, that I would never even consider this horse in a million years except for the trainer. The trainer's very good. Safi Joseph wins at a very high percentage. But again, this horse is coming off of Lasix, and he's going to be short. And Safi Joseph and no Safi Joseph, I would let this horse beat me. There's no way I would use this horse.
Yeah, that's the biggest problem too. The odds, the 3-1 odds.
Right. I mean, when you're betting a horse that's obviously not sound, he has 3 races in 2 years. You're betting a horse coming off of Lasix, and you're betting a horse that's the favorite. All 3 reasons not to want to play a horse. You know. You make cases for long-priced horses to bet them. You don't have to make a case for a short-priced horse. And that's what you would be doing here.
All right, let's go with the 5 now. And this is my top pick, Double Crown, a 9-2 shot. Won 5. Actually, it's interesting because the rider, and we're going to talk about Diamond Oops next, the rider actually won the last races of the next two horses, Double Crown and Diamond Oops. But anyway, the rider is who's only as you can see at 6% this year, which is not very good. But anyway, 7 for 7 Lifetime is strong. 5 for 5 of them are at Gulfstream is strong, and it's also 5 for 5 at this at this distance. So all that stuff is strong. You're getting good odds, nearly 5-1. I mean, you had to be impressed, John, with the 8 and the win in the first career race. That immediately impresses you, and then comes back next year with a 9 and a 7. This is only the second race of the season, so I'm expecting a forward move.
Well, this is another one. We're dealing with the Lasix issue. He's coming off of Lasix. You know, if you want to get really like nitty-picky about this horse, he ran an 8 first out as a 2-year-old, which is very strong. But it took him a long time to break through that 8. It took him to the end of last year. You know, if he wanted to really be a terrific horse, he would have run better than that 8 earlier last year. But I'm being,
sure.
I'm nitpicking. And but listen, the horse certainly eligible to make a forward move. So for that reason, I would probably include this horse.
Yeah, and I definitely.
And now, if the track comes up wet, he's got a 9 last year on a wet track and last year on a wet track. So both of those horses are good as well.
Yeah, and so Mark, this is a horse that hopefully will stay at 9-2 or 5-1. I don't want to see the horse going below 4-1.
Well, I think you're going to be probably right around that range there, Greg, as you mentioned here. And you've got a horse here that's run second and third in Grade 3 stakes last year. Interestingly, it's Catherine Ritvo's third of 3 horses in this race. She figures to come out with some money in this race. You hope it's going to be this horse, the 5 horse. Won over $200,000 in his career, and good for the money. 5 for 5 for the distance here. I think you're onto something here, Greg. I think there's other better horses in the race personally, but I wouldn't be surprised if you're on top in this race.
Okay.
He's actually never finished off the board. He has 7 starts. He has 4 wins, 2 seconds, and a third. So 7 times on the board. You know,
that's
the odds
impressive.
are
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. The 6 is Diamond Oops, a 5-2 shot. And this is that other horse I just mentioned. That how do you pronounce it? What's the rider's name? Panici?
Luca Panici is on the 5.
Yeah, Luca Panici was on the 5. Also, like I mentioned, the last time out when that horse won, and he was on Diamond Oops when Diamond Oops ran the 5 back in June, which was just last month. So, are we looking at a bounce factor here, John? A 5-2 shot coming off a 5.
I would play this horse to bounce for sure. Not only that, he's back off of Lasix tomorrow. The 12 that he ran 2 starts back, even though it was a grass race, was without Lasix. But he's run well on the turf in the past, you know? So maybe it's the Lasix. The fact that he's ran a 5 last time out, this horse has to react. The question is, how far is he going to react? Last year he ran a 6, bounced to an 11, ran a 7, bounced to a 10. So every time he hits that high note, he reacts off of it in his next race. Not only that, he's going to be the favorite, and you know, but he's just generally a fast horse, because if you look at any of his numbers, he never really runs worse than a 10 on the dirt. You know, so that being said, out of that, I would respect him enough to maybe include him in an exacta, but I'm not keying him. And as far as Florent Giroux, who rides him, he's a terrific rider. Yep. He doesn't ride in Florida, but he's ridden this horse in the past. He rides in Kentucky for the most part when they run there. You know, he rides first call for Brad Cox, and he's okay, this horse. I mean, the rider, I should say, is fine.
Yeah, matter of fact, Giroux was on board when the horse won a couple of Grade 2 stakes races last year. And also, if we go back to 2019, Mark, Diamond Oops ran a 5 in December of 2019, then bounced to a 10 in January of 2020. But you like this horse too, Mark, or what do you think about the 6?
I like the horse, like John says. I think he's got to be in the exacta or in the mix here somewhere. He's the class of the race. He's won over $1 million and a couple of graded Breeders' Cup races that this horse has been in. So he's been in a lot better company, if you will. And again, he's never run a bad race. The question is he due for a bounce in this race? I think he hits the board, but I don't want to really go too hard at him if he's the favorite.
Okay, let's go now with the 7, Chivalry. Chivalry ran some big races last year, the Florida Derby, the Bluegrass, and the Travers. Only did good at the Florida Derby, coming in second. Has one win since then, but the sheet lines are going in the opposite direction, as you can see. 10, 13, 16, John.
I don't like this horse. I think he's off form, and he's coming off of a layoff. And I think you have much better options in this horse.
And then finally, the 8 is Miles Ahead. And this is John and Mark's top pick. I hope the horse is at 4-1 because I'm going to put the 8 into my exactas as well. And it's, again, if you look at the sheets right there, this horse has been the most consistent. 8, 8, 8, 6 over the last 4 races, finishing first and second in all 4 of those races, John.
Yeah, this is the now horse. I mean, Diamond Oops is probably a better horse in the long run, but for tomorrow, I think this will be the better horse. He's steady. He never runs a bad race. Any one of his last 4 races will get the job done here. His only bad race this year was the 16 when he came back off of a very short layoff off of the 9, and he had big trouble in that race as well. So this horse is certainly running the 8, has a chance to run the 6. He's drawn well. He's drawn outside. He's been inside in his last 6 or 7 races. If you look, he had the 3 post. Prior to that, he had the rail 3 consecutive times. He finally draws outside. And the guy that's getting on him tomorrow is a terrific rider, Edwin Gonzalez. He brought his tack down to Gulfstream this year, and he's done exceptionally well since, So this is a rider upgrade as far as I'm concerned. And I like this horse a lot in this spot.
Mark?
I like the horse, as John says. He's the now horse. My main concern is that he hasn't really run into this class at all. This is his first graded stakes race, if you will, but you can't knock the numbers, and he's in this race for a reason here. He has a nose for the money, 4 in a row in the money, 6 of 9 in the race. I think my liking him on top here is a lot to do with the fact he's 4-1. He's not the favorite in the race. I'd hate to see him go off the favorite. I don't think he will. And if he doesn't, he'll be my top horse as well.
Yeah, and John, this is that type of race that is going to be huge for the rest of Miles Ahead's career, you would think, because this is the first big race that the horse has been in, and this is now an opportunity to prove whether or not, you can say what you want about Sheets and all these other factors, but, you're going up against some other top-graded stakes horses, so go ahead and prove it.
Well, he's a 4-year-old. He's allowed to get better, and he is getting better, and the right thing. They took their time. They beat what they had to beat to get to this point, and you're right. Now he's stepping up. He's coming from AAA up to the major leagues. Let's go, kid. Do it.
And by the way, you were mentioning the post position. Same thing. We all like the 1 in an exactas. Keep in mind that the 1, even though he's got the rail, I was looking at it, he's got 5 races from the 1 position over the last couple of years, finishing first, second, third, and 5th. So the horse knows how to run on the rail as well. Should have mentioned that. Okay, so as far as our picks, we all like the 8. John and Mark has the 8 as their top picks. We also all like the 1. John and I like the 5. That's my top pick. And John and Mark like the 6. All right, let's go to race 11. And this is also at Gulfstream Park. This is also a shorter race. The 6 furlong is in the 10th race. This is a 7 furlong race, race 11. It's also one of the big races of the weekend, the Princess Rooney. It's a grade 2 race. And we'll start with the 1, one of the favorites, Estilo Talentoso.
Estilo Talentoso.
I'm sure the people in Miami are probably shaking their head right now.
This guy's a
yeah. So anyway, this is a horse that is going to be strong, no question about it. 14 for 14 in the money in her career. So she has been excellent. By the way, fillies and mares in this race. She's got 2 8s over her last 3, which is just about as good as she's been running. So she's on top form, John. She also ran, by the way, the 8 in her last race at Belmont on a sloppy track. So it might be a little sloppy, who knows, on Saturday, John.
This line is very strong. The horse is very strong. He ran an 8- last time out, and he has the 8 1/4, 3 races back. She's actually ready to run a new top off of the sheets. The problem I have with the horse is the price. She's going to be a short price, and she's stuck inside. She has no early speed. Our distant races, she shows speed, but sprinting, and there are sprinters in here that are going. She's going to be shuffled back. She's going to have to circle the field. That's her problem, And at a short price, while she's, in my opinion, certainly the horse to beat, no question about it. I would definitely try to beat her.
Yeah, because Mark, if you look at it, 7 races at this distance, 1 win, and she's on the rail. So that's a little iffy for a 5-2 shot.
Especially in a 7 furlong race, as you mentioned here. Yes, on the rail, I'd never do that.
What was that, John?
One win, 5 seconds in a third.
So the 5 seconds are good, but at 5-2, it's almost like if she comes in second, she's going to ruin things for us.
Well, but she's going to be probably less than 5-2, to be honest with you. But listen, she's okay. But again, in my opinion, she's the horse to beat here, and I would certainly try to do so at a short price. I respect her, though.
Mark?
John, at 5-2, she gives you a reason to look for other horses, is what she does.
Exactly. But by the way, she does have another plus on her side. She came off of Lasix for the first time 4 starts back, and she's one of the horses that actually runs well off of Lasix in the field.
Okay. Let's go with the 2, and this is my top long shot. I don't know how you pronounce that. Aerosol?
It'd be air like an air, but instead of aerosol is spray, it's aerosol the air. That's what it is.
A 20-1 shot. So she's got a 9 last year, but what I look at this year is she is improving a little bit. 16, 15, 12, as you can see, coming off a win. She's been in a lot of races. But again, I mean, I'm not in love with her, John, but I do like the fact I do like the fact that she's a 20-1 shot. What happened?
Did we
lost you, John? Sound? I don't know. I haven't touched anything.
Well, while John's trying to come on, Greg, I can see your lure for the 20-1 horse. The horse has won $400,000 in its career, but it's a big step up in class here. And are the numbers there? Are the Ragozin numbers there for this horse? He just looks a little bit slow. What's the main attraction you have to the horse?
I just like the fact that she's coming into form 16, 15, 12. So if she can, and she's had a 9 before. So if I can get a 9 out of her, who knows? Again, I'm looking for an exacta more than anything. Now we can hear you. There you go.
Okay. I don't like this horse because this is what we call a negative line. But I would never talk anyone off a 20-1 shot. The negative about this horse is last year she ran 9s, and this year she can't even get back. She ran a 12 top last time out. Again, I would never knock a 20-1 shot. If you like a 20-1 shot, please don't even think of letting me talk you off the horse. But you asked me my opinion on the horse, and I don't give her much of a chance.
Okay, let's go with the 3. This My Time.
This is my time.
All right. Oh, and by the way, I think I called the Harrisol a she, and that's not this is an filly and mare race. He's not a filly.
It is a she. It's a she, though.
Yeah, they're all she's. Yeah, I know. That's like a tricky thing that I never get over.
When you turn 5, they call you a mare.
Okay.
The filly, well, until you're 5, then you become a mare. What could I tell you?
All right. So anyway, 6-1 shot. So I like the fact that this My Time, John, is getting 6-1. This is a horse I am definitely going to be putting into my exactas. Last 3 races, as you can see, 8, 9, 11, not going in the right direction, but she seems to look. Gulfstream 6 out of 7 in the money, John, and you're getting 6-1.
Yeah, my only concern is the layoff. Where has she been since January? She's now waited, 6 months to come back to the races. However, they pick a stake race to bring her back in, so that's a positive sign. My only concern is, is the horse ready to go 7 furlongs off a layoff? Usually not an easy thing to do.
Yeah, she's only had really one bad race in almost a year, Mark. This is your top pick.
It is my top pick, and this goes to a little thing, an old school that I used to always follow, and that's trainers. And Kathleen O'Connell, I really admire her as a trainer here. She's not a big-time trainer. You don't talk about Hall of Fame type of thing. She's a good trainer, and she puts horses in races that they can win. She's doing that here, this particular race, off this layoff, as you mentioned here. She loses to Zayas. He's on Sappy Joseph's 8 horse in this race. I'm a little bit surprised that he jumps off the horse for that in this favor here. But this horse ran second in a graded stakes race here in January in its last race. I think for the price 6-1, I've got him right on top here. I'm a big Kathleen O'Connell fan, and 6-1, I'll be there.
Okay, let's go with the 4, Pacific Gale, and this is John's top pick at 4-1. Coming off of 3 straight 10s. John, only 1 out of 9 as far as wins at this distance. What did you like about Pacific Gale? He did run a 6 back in 2019. But again, the 3 straight 10s. What do you like about Pacific Gale?
I just think that she's steady. But again, this is another one with somewhat of a negative line. She never came back to the 8 that she ran last year at Saratoga. But, you know, she seems to always run a 10 and never really runs worse. Certainly not this year. And a 10, I think, may be good enough in this race. I think a 10 could beat every horse in the race with the exception of possibly the 1.
All right.
And I'm getting 4-1.
All right, the 5 is CC. This is one of the favorites. And if you look at it, though, as a favorite, we're always trying to knock the favorites. CC's last 2 races are really 2 of her worst, or his worst, back-to-back races of his or hers career. If you look at it, 14-9, as you can see there on the screen. And really, we can go back 3 races, 14-9-9. So not into form, John, for a horse that's 3-1.
Yeah, and the 14 last time out, even though she did have trouble in that race was without Lasix. You know, the good news is she's never run worse than a 14, so she is making a forward move. The question is how far she's going to make a forward move. And as the favorite, you know, I would hope not far enough. But if she won, it would be no surprise. But again, another one with a negative line. Last year she had 8s, worked her way down to a 6. And this year I came out and only ran a 9 and 14. As you know, when you get older, it gets harder to do things that you used to do earlier in your life. So she could be tailing off. And at 3-1, I'm willing to take a chance that she's tailing
off. All right,
off.
out of the co-favorites, John, you and I are going with the 1, but Mark, out of the co-favorites, is going to go with CC. So what do you like most of all about CC, Mark?
Well, the thing I don't like about CC, as John just mentioned here, another thing is the horse has been racing at Santa Anita all year and ships in for this particular race. Coming into this race, only 2 times at this distance, but got a win in one of those 2 races. If the horse races back to the form 3 races back, this horse can win. The last 2 races, throw out, if you can throw those out, you have a nice horse here. But I don't like the price, and that's the reason he's not anywhere near the top of my ticket. If this horse goes anything more than 3-1, I'll have him mixed in with my exactas. I think he'll be knocking in the money, like I say, but not on top for me.
Okay, the 6, Laura's Light. This is my top pick, a 7-2 shot. She's coming off a 12 in the very first race of I think that was the very first race of her career, John, racing outside of the grass. So what about the 7-2 shot, Laura's Light, back-to-back wins, very good trainer. She's got the good combination trainer jock in this race, young enough as well. And she's run a few 9s in the turf races, but coming off that 12 last time out.
Well, this is a ridiculous horse to bet at 7-2 for the simple reason. She's never run a single digit on the dirt. She's never even run it better than a 12 on the dirt. You know, her only try on the dirt was last time out, and it was a sloppy track, and she ran a 12. You know, what the reason she's 7-2 is because she has an impressive record, and she's won her last 2 races. But that being said, I mean, you know, you're looking at numbers, and this is a hard kind of horse to play at a short price. The 1, the 2, the 3, the 4, the 5, all have 10s or better somewhere once upon a time. Why are you going to play this horse at 7-2?
And you mean the 10 on dirt?
Right. That's what I'm saying. So why, you know, you can't compare turf and dirt. If you run well on the turf, that means nothing on the dirt.
I was looking at it as here's a trainer like Peter Miller. He's got to be thinking about doing something. He's obviously made this decision for a reason.
Yeah, I guess so. It's a grade 2 stake for 350,000. The guy is based in California. They're not running at San Anita or Del Mar now. They're at Los Alamitos. So he's got nothing to do with the horse, I guess. And last time out, he sent it a Lone Star to run. Again, she could certainly win, but there is no value in this horse at 7-2. And if you look, she goes off the favorite almost every. It's just a hard kind of horse to play at a short price.
Okay, and then we go to the 7. John, this is your top long shot in the field, and this horse is Halawala, a 20-1 shot, who's got 2 11s in his last 3 races.
Yeah, listen, last year she only had 2 races. This year she's now making her 4th start of the year, which is a positive sign. She's going to be 50-1. She's not very unlikely to win the race, but just as an idea to hit, she ran last time out at Gulfstream, so this is her home track. Again, she's going to be 50-1. She's probably not going to win. She's like probably 50-1 to win, to be honest with you. But I would throw her in my tries and super somewhere on the bottom at a big price.
And then the 8 is Sound Machine. This is the last horse in the field, a 12-1 shot. Doesn't look like this horse has a shot.
No, she's
what is
very
she?
slow.
What is she doing at 12-1?
She should be 112 to 1.
Probably just the trainer.
I mean, that's
and
all.
What's Zayev's riding on this horse for? I don't understand the move that way either.
Well, he's going to ride the first call for
Sappy Joseph.
Yeah, I mean, Sappy Joseph has a million horses. Kathleen O'Connell, like you says, is a terrific trainer, but she doesn't have the amount of opportunities that this guy has. So, somebody that's going to give you a lot of mounts tells you, please take the mount, you're going to take it. That's the way you do business.
All right, our picks, as you can see, I have just posted them up on the board now. These are our picks for both races, but again, just for this one we just talked about, race 11, John, his top pick is going to be the 4 Pacific Gale. Mark is going with the 3, This Is My Time. I'm going with the 6, Laura's Light. Hopefully I'll get better odds. And we also, some of the other horses we like include the 1, the 2, and the 3. And then John's top long shot is the 7. And then coming up, as far as the schedule is concerned, what do we have? One more week at Belmont, John?
Just about, yeah.
And then it's
next week could be I think it's a big weekend. It's closing weekend.
Well, let's see. Next week we've got 2 graded 1 stakes races at Belmont. We got the Belmont Derby, the Belmont Oaks. We also have a grade 3 race at Belmont. And then in 2 weeks, we have the Haskell.
Wow.
So
you can't use a whip in the Haskell. That's great old Monmouth, so.
John, I appreciate it. As always, Mark, you too. Looking forward to doing this again next Friday morning if we can keep it going 3 weeks in a row.
Stay safe, well, everybody. Thank you.
May the horse be with us. Good luck this week. We'll catch you next week, guys.
Thank you.